Yo, it's your boy WesTheTech here to bring you another one of my personal favorite tech tips to help you as an artist growing your craft. Now, today we're going to go over the 6 types of music royalties that you need to know, all right? So if you're a recording artist who wants to know about all the different music royalties that are available for you as an independent artist, then this is the perfect video for you, because in this video, I'm going to go over all the different types of music royalties that are out there that you may actually be able to collect from as an independent artist. All right. Now, before I continue, I definitely want to let you guys know about my free music business checklist tool that's available to download off of my website right now. This is for any one of you guys who's looking into starting your own music business but don't quite know where to start. With this free tool, you actually be able to identify 3 things that you could do right away to start your own music business. So if you want to grab this free tool today, you can click on the link above. I will also leave the link in the descriptions below. All right. Now, when it comes to collecting on music royalties, I'm pretty sure that you guys have had a lot of different information out there when it comes to royalties, right? There are some people out there saying there's only 3 types of royalties. Some people are saying there's 4, 5. You know, the number changes depending on who you speak to. But for me, anytime I'm talking about royalties, I'm always going to give you guys the number 6. And the reason for that is because there are 6 different types of royalties that are actually out there. However, all 6 of them is not available for every individual artist. And that's why you get different numbers with different people, because some of the royalties that they don't even talk about, the reason they don't talk about them is because they can't collect from them. So it doesn't make sense for them to even talk about it. But for me, I feel like it's my job to actually go over every single royalty that's out there, whether you can actually collect from them or not, because you guys need to know it, right? There's one particular royalty out there that is unavailable for those of you who are in the US, right? You can't collect on that at all, which means in the US, you only got 5. But if I'm doing this video for everybody in the world, I can't just give the 5. I have to give all 6, because I got people who are watching that are outside of the US who's trying to collect their royalties too. You guys get what I'm saying? That's why it's very important to me that I go over all of them, because I'm trying to help every independent artist out there that's in the world. All right. So with that being said, I also just want to mention that I'm not going to go into full details on how to actually collect from every single one of these royalties and all of these different things, because that'll essentially make this video super long. And on top of that, I've already created a music royalty handbook that goes into full details on every single one of these royalties that I'm going to mention and how to actually collect from them. All right. So I have a book out here right now that you can actually get that'll basically give you the blueprint and all the framework into how to get every single one of those royalties. To be able to condense that book into this video would take too long, so I'm not going to do that. But I will at least let you guys know all 6 of the different royalties out there, because that's something every single artist needs to know, whether you have the book or not. Period. All right. So let's just dive into it. The first music royalty that I definitely want to go over is the most obvious one. It's the streaming royalties. Now, with the streaming royalties, the reason I say this is the most obvious one, because if you're an artist and you have your music on Spotify, Apple Music, you know, Deezer, and all of those different places right now, then you are already collecting streaming royalties, because streaming royalties is actually attached to your music distributor. Your music distributor is the people who collect your streaming royalties, right? That is the most obvious one. That's the most standard one. Whether you're with Landard, Symphonic, DistroKid, TuneCore, CD Baby, it doesn't matter. Whoever you're distributing your music with, when it comes to your streaming royalties, they're the ones who collect it on your behalf, which is why I said that's the most obvious one. Now, the other 5, you actually have to go out your way to actually collect royalties from those. They're not collected by your music distributor. And these other 5 are the 5 that I feel like are even more important than your streaming, because some of them actually pays out more than your streaming, which is important for you to know as well, right? When you hear artists say, oh, you know, I don't make a lot in my music, well, that might be because you're only collecting your streaming royalties when there's other types of royalties that you should be collecting as well. All right. And that's why I went over to streaming first. The next royalty that I want to go over is your public performance royalties. All right. Your public performance royalties is literally royalties that is mentioned in the name. public performances, which means live shows. It means performances that is happening on TVs, movies, all of those different things. Radio counts as public performances as well. Wherever your music is being performed at, not just live performances, but your music is being played at outside of DSPs, outside of the streaming service, just those places as well. But you still get Spotify royalties in public performances as well. So it could get a little complicated. And that's why I said, like I said before, I had to create a book for you. But public performances is the second type of music royalty that is out there that you can actually collect from. All right. Now, the third music royalty that you can actually collect from is the neighboring royalties. All right, now this royalty specifically is a partner to public performances, but this royalty specifically is the royalty that you cannot collect from if you are in the US, right? So this is the one I was mentioning earlier, that us in the US, we cannot get neighboring royalties. They're not for us, and it's tied to FM and AM radio. It's tied to everything with that, right? We can't collect from those, but if you're in another country, you can, which is why it's very important for you guys to know about neighboring royalties, because that's another source of income that you could be getting if you're not in the US and you're making music. All right, for those of you who are in the US, you're not getting those, so we're fresh out of luck. All right, that's not changing anytime soon, and I don't think it'll ever change. All right, but it's still important that everybody knows that the third royalty that you can collect from is neighboring royalties. All right. Now, the fourth royalty that we all can collect from as independent artists is digital performances, right? So we have public performances. Now we have digital performances, right? Now, I know some of you guys are thinking, well, digital performances, isn't that the same as streaming? Yes, I can understand that train of thought, because all streaming royalties or all streaming is on a digital device. You're listening to Spotify on something digital, right? So that makes sense when you think of it from that way. But digital performance royalties is literally a different type of royalty. It doesn't fall under the category of streaming. It is a different type of royalty that you could collect from. But like I said before, you can get all that detailed information in the handbook. And as you can see, this could get very complex really quickly, because some of these sound like the same wording, but they're not the same type of royalties. Every single one of these royalties are different from the other, and they don't collect in the same way. They all collect in different ways, all right? But digital performance royalties is another type of royalty that you could actually collect from. Now, the fifth royalty is, I guess, the flip side of digital performances is mechanical royalties. All right. Now, mechanical royalties is an interesting one for me, because mechanical royalties isn't as big as it used to be. Right. So this one I will explain a little bit, because it's kind of relevant, but at the same time, it might not be, depending on who you are. Right. So mechanical royalties were mostly tied to mechanical, physical copies, CDs, music CDs, plaques, all of that stuff. That's mechanical royalties, right? Obviously, we're not in that age no more. We're not really doing music in that way no more. Most of our music is done through streaming. But for those of you out there who's still selling CDs and things like that, there is mechanical royalties that you can actually collect from. Again, that's not everybody, but it's important for me to address it for those of you who are actually still creating CDs and actually selling your CDs and stuff like that. There's mechanical royalties that you can collect from as well. All right. So that is the fifth one. And the final music royalty that I'm going to mention with these six, the sixth one is the synchronization royalties, right? And these royalties come specifically from sync licensing. When you are syncing your music out to movies, TVs, and all of that stuff, or commercials, all of that is called sync licensing. And sync licensing is a different type of music royalties. It does not fall into the category of all the other stuff, right? It's its own individual type of royalty, right? So that's sync royalties. So to go over those six again, number one is the streaming royalties. Number two is the public performance royalties. Number three is the neighboring royalties. Number four is the digital performance royalties. Number five is the mechanical royalties. And finally, number six is the synchronization or sync royalties. All right. So I hope that you watching this video, I hope that some of these things are the first time that you're hearing it, because if it is, then that means you may have money waiting for you somewhere, because you might have not even collected from those yet, right? It is very important as an artist to make sure that you are collecting from all the available music royalties that you can actually collect from. Right, you could collect from as many of these as you can for those that you are eligible for, right? And of course, there's even more to this when we're talking about, you know, masterings and copyrights and publishing and all of that stuff. Believe me, guys, royalties can get very messy and very complicated really, really quickly, which is why, like I said before, I'm not going to go into all of that stuff, because I want to keep the focus on just presenting the 6 ones to you guys, so there's no misconception out there of how many royalties there that you can actually collect from, right? So for those people who are saying there are 4 and 5 and 3, that's all wrong. There's 6 of them, right? It's just you may not be able to get all 6, but there's 6 available royalties out there. Obviously, mechanical, for example, we're not in CDs no more, so most people don't even count that one, but it still counts for some people because some people are still selling CDs. So I can't not mention it. You guys get what I'm saying? But those are the 6. So I hope that, you know, it brought some light or shed some light to you guys as far as the royalties are, right? If you're not collecting from all of these and you want to know exactly how to collect from every single one of these, then I strongly urge you to grab my handbook. It's an ebook. You could grab it. It'll give you all the information on how to collect, where to collect, and it'll also provide links to the places that you have to sign up for to collect for each specific royalty that you're looking for, which is very, very valuable, is very, very important. Me, myself, I do music full-time. I've been doing music full-time for years now, and royalties are a big part of the reason why I'm able to do so, which is why I thought it was very important for me to come on here and let you guys know about the different types of royalties there are, all right? But that's pretty much it. That's what this video was about, right? Just bringing to your awareness the 6 different types of music royalties that are out there for you guys to collect from. Again, when it comes to the handbook, I'll leave it in the descriptions below, all right, if you want to pick that up today. And of course, if you guys have any other additional questions in regards to royalties, please feel free to leave comments in the comment section below, because I'm here to help you as an independent artist, all right? So, you know, a lot of the times I can't get to them, but I'm trying to get back into it so that I'm able to answer as much questions as possible, all right? So, guys, please fill out the comments, right? Because I'm even backtracking and going back and answering some questions that I haven't, you know, that's been piled up. But I want to get back into that group of being able to answer you guys' questions, especially when you leave comments on the videos. So definitely check, put your comments there. You know, I'll see them. I'll respond back to them if you got questions about royalties or anything else when it comes to music industry wise. All right. But that's pretty much it, guys. I hope that this video will help, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.
I'm feeling like David. Can't nobody slay me. I feel like Moses. Big Moses. Can't nobody hold me. I'm feeling like Daniel. Big Daddy. Can't nobody face me.